I really felt her with sometimes being in school and wanting to have that release, because I think sometimes when you're in school, you're hitting peaks in your brain. You are putting together the lightning bolt moment, and that's going to cause energy. And so there were so many times in middle school that I'm learning, and then I want to get up and I want to move, and I want to use that, and I maybe want to explore. And I remember just sitting at my desk, and like, I'm not necessarily a bad kid, but I just want to move. I didn't ever tell my teacher that. I didn't ever look over to my friend and say, "Dude, I'm freaking out in this chair." But I think I'm pretty smart, and I like school. But right now, there's a lot going on.
Was put on medication, was put on Ritalin, and at first it kind of helped me focus, but I wasn't really myself. I wasn't using my creative talents and things like that and really expressing myself. I was just more numb. Sure, I could focus on certain things, but I just wasn't really myself. So anyways, I was put on that medication for a couple years, and didn't really work out for me in the long run. And then when I got into my 20s, I started learning about the complications and things like that were bad with that medication. Yeah.
So you took this from a junior in high school up until how long?
Probably closer to a freshman in high school, up until probably about 5 years ago. And how am I going to not only address these issues, but also get off this medication and heal myself naturally and get back to me? So I started really getting into nutrition and things like that, and realizing hey, I can heal myself through food. And I also realized that my gut was essentially my second brain. So whatever was going on in my gut was also affecting my mood, my focus, my attention span, everything like that. So I really got into fueling my brain and fueling my body with good foods, and then slowly started transitioning out of the medication. And my life really started to turn around. I started to get more creative. I started my own nutrition business, became a yoga teacher. So things just really started to change for me.
I look forward to the future when we've been there, and we'll be able to help.
And even inside of me, winning the game of valedictorian, it was still empty. Right. It was fleeting, I won. But there was really but what did I get out of it?
What did that matter? Yeah.
Yay! One thing I'm exploring that I'm passionate about right now is, what are our gifts? It feels like each one of us has a gift to share, and maybe it changes over the course of our lives. And there's right now I have this gift to share, and how do we help bring out that gift that person has to share? Because not only do they feel fulfilled, which has a richness and a quality to it, I also feel like the world needs that gift that the person is.
It's a symbiotic relationship.
Totally.
School was being taught what to learn. And when I got into health, I've read recently actually that change is being the only constant. Change is going to find you, and it's like your ability to accept it and allow it into your life, but the change is going to continue to shower upon you. The change is coming. It's your comfortable, your level of comfort with changing with it. Recently, getting into health over the last 5 years, it came to me. I didn't necessarily seek it out. I wanted to have a good life, and I wanted to have an impact, and I wanted to do a lot of things, but I didn't know how I was going to do it as a young man. And then when I found health, I realized I'm super passionate about this, and it found me, and what a beautiful thing that is. So with school teaching you what to learn, I feel like what learning has become now is I've tried to study how to learn. It's result-based or conclusion-based, whereas school, it was grade-based and homework-based and acceptance-based. And so I think there's a huge difference between those two things. But as I've gotten outside of that, learning how to learn, it's become, I think, more fascinating. It's something that I can actually enjoy doing because I'm learning things that are conclusion-based.
Thinking back in whenever you were kind of labeled as more rambunctious and creative, what type of process would you have loved to go through where they would test your creativity, right? Where it would be a positive thing instead of a negative thing.
I love that question. So I think really diving into children's strengths, instead of looking at them for the things they need to improve on, maybe identify their strengths. Where is this person strong, and what can we, focus on a little bit more to really make that person feel confident in their abilities and their strengths, because we all have different strengths.
your comment about being authentic with your students, about this as a game, is really, really important because I didn't know there was a game. Right. I just thought I was a failure.
Most definitely.
And so I didn't know there was a game until Natalie just said that there was a game. Oh my God, this is a game.
They were like, well, now you're 5. And I was like, wait a minute. They're keeping track of this. Started to figure out, well, who else would be number 1? Like, who's my competition? And I was at a school where an A for a AP class was 4.4, so it was extra points. And like the regular classes were 4.0. So I knew I was gonna be in all of the AP classes. Yeah. And so I knew I had all that, and I knew she was too. And then there was one option, it was between, am I gonna be in like arts class or cooking or study hall? And I calculated mathematically, like if I do all of this and I get all straight A's and I take the study hall, I'll beat her. And and then if I take the arts class or like something I was really interested in, I wouldn't.
So like if you took the thing that really mattered to you, you wouldn't be first.
Right.
Yikes.
I feel like the natural kid in us believes, and we're positive, and we want to create, and we want to be artists, and like then we match that with the world kind of wising us up, but sometimes that cuts our wings. Yeah. You know, so to me, it's that keeping that balance.
The balance.
Yeah.
So how to play out? Like what happened?
I got valedictorian. You know, I had to write a business plan to start this place. So in some way, that's creating the plan that had this place be successful. And
the same as creating a plan to be valedictorian of the high school.
In a way, you could look at it like that.
Well, one of the things I feel like I see and that I battle a lot is we're teaching them how to play the game rather than teaching them and fueling them about what makes them come alive.
Right.
Yeah. You gotta do both.
I would like to see where the gifts and the strengths of someone, there's a way to match that with teaching them how to take care of themselves.
It's a game, like what a great way to experience it. And to have been able to walk through it as a game would have changed my relationship with myself, which is the most important relationship. And because I didn't know it was a game, I couldn't burst those roadblocks. I just sat at the roadblocks because I'm a failure. I'm a failure.
What should I be eating as an athlete? And you know, in high school, you go to the lunchroom, it's like a smorgasbord of carbohydrates, right? Everything. I mean, there's cookies as big as this table. And it's $2. So what do? You get 4 of them and you eat them all, right?
You don't know any better.
You don't know any better. So I think that's when kind of my passion for more alternative medicine, holistic medicine, functional medicine kind of started. And I'm sitting there looking like, wow, I'm really eating a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't be if I really want my body to perform how it should.
At 16, you started thinking about this.
Yeah, I started thinking about that. When you look at it, it's like we're feeding students, and not just for athletes, but for brain function, right? We're in school to learn. Right. And we're feeding a bunch of
learning is supposed to happen.
Yeah, learning's supposed to happen, but we're not fueling the brain for learning. We're giving really bad saturated fats, canola oil, all these terrible oils for you, and a ton of carbohydrates, and that's a normal student's lunch. When they're going to learn a lot better if they have good fats, avocados, coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil, and get really good sources of protein, and then have a lot of vegetables. But that's like opposite of a school lunch.
I was never interested in health and nutrition before this. I was not one to be looking at labels and understanding what was going into my body. Because I wasn't taught about a lot of that stuff. I didn't understand really the importance of how, I mean, of course it makes so much sense. What you put in your body affects how you perform, how you feel, how you think. I've now had to recover my gut from C. diff, and right now I can't eat wheat, I can't eat dairy, I can't eat starches, I can't hardly have sugar, can't do coffee, can't do alcohol. So I'm recovering now and understanding this damage that I've done to myself without realizing it because of this kind of lack of education, not saying that I needed to learn about C. diff in health class in high school, but I'm just, kind of just the overall basic nutrition.
One thing to change super easy, don't eat fried food.
Don't eat all fried food out.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you take that out, you're taking out all the bad oils, and all that fried food's coming in frozen, and it's probably all genetically modified anyway.
How do you feed 1,600 kids healthy food every day, twice a day? But I think we're at the point where we realize we have to find a way.
The thing that I see, and I'm assuming there's teachers out there who have a passion for agriculture and for gardening and for animals, or parents actually. Our school lots have massive amounts of grass fields. We spend a lot of money to mow them and to maintain them. When you have sheep that could do that, you have cows that could do that, you have chickens that could fertilize for you. So you have this whole ecosystem that could surround the school and nourish the children and nourish the parents and nourish the teachers. Yeah. So that whole thing that we were talking about earlier with like an outdoor classroom. Mm-hmm. So you combine it, you involve it, you bring it in. They might not be able to eat the cow, eat the sheep, right?
They might not get away with that. Right.
You know, but the thing that was missing for me in school is I'm like, where was my agriculture class? Now I'm about 6 or 7 years post, and now every school has a garden, and the high school sources from local farms.
Create the student council where fourth graders can run for vice president, fifth graders can run for president. I'm fourth grade, I go for vice president. I'm kind of new to the school, so it kind of all encapsulates everything for me. I meet a lot of people and I get a new sense of confidence, make new friends. Then the fifth grade president ends up getting in trouble.
Okay.
So
while you were the fourth grade
right. I took over the role as the first ever fourth grade president in the school, and then actually the next year ran again, and so I still kind of use that theme, like if I'm giving myself a wrestling introduction, you know, the two-time back-to-back elementary school president, you know, so it's, I think it's like, it can be made fun of, but all those moments matter. Like it taught me a lot. It made me believe that people could get behind you and do something really cool. And then even from there, being in the leadership position, I never had that. I mean, in second grade, I used to cry when I would go to school and have to go sit in the nurse's office because I was nervous. Mm-hmm. So then to roll all the way into fifth grade and giving speeches in front of the school and building a fundraiser, a readathon that you got your parents behind you. If you read so many books, your family would donate the money to the school. And then to use that money to create a field trip to go to the zoo, where our school has never been able to go to the zoo, being Kansas City Public Schools. So it's like, then you roll on with life, you know, and it's not like you think about that all the time.
You don't realize that you're empowering yourself to actually make decisions.
Right.
Yeah. Talk more about the relationship between your family and your parents when you were running in the fourth and fifth grade. Like, what'd they do?
That's my favorite thing about my family. We've had a ton of struggles. Sometimes we're doing okay, sometimes we're doing really bad, but they've always painted this picture that if I was willing to work hard enough, truly anything was possible for me.
Good health and good education is a privilege. And the ability to have access to either is an incredible gift sometimes. And so I think about all the students, particularly for me, being Latino, being from that community, and like immigrants, for example. My parents were immigrants. They came to this country in 1981. They didn't speak the language, they didn't have the resources, they didn't have the jobs. They started it from the very beginning. In their mid-30s. I'm from Miami, Florida. My parents from Nicaragua. And so their entire environment was about the struggle of surviving. So for them, it was not about me eating well or me going to the best schools. It was about me living day to day and the ability just to survive
the next 24 hours.
The next 24 hours.
Yeah. I think too in education, like all we focus on is the brain.
Right.
That's the only thing we teach too. But we are so much more than our brain. Right. And so education has to start encompassing the whole human being.
Right.
And if we can start at an early age,
the earlier the better.
Then this might not run 24/7 and we might not get trapped in it because we'll have access to our whole self.
You know, I think about a program that I did with the public library several years ago where we would feed, it was a summer program, and a big component of that was lunch. And, you know, that's when I truly came to learn that a lot of those students the only meal that they were going to have that day was at the library and through that program. We have a responsibility to these students to understand where they come from, to understand the challenges that they may face, to not judge them in certain ways, but also to figure out where those resources are and where they're located so we can give them those opportunities.
Well, so in Buddhist philosophy, good comes with bad.
Right.
There is no good without bad. So as you step up into your own life and you start taking that lead and you start making good causes for your life, the negative is going to come to kind of take you down.
The yin and the yang are going
Right.
together. Yeah.
But that's the proof.
It's a sign that
That's
you're
the proof that you're on the right path
Right.
for yourself or for your life or for what you're doing. And so to be in anticipation and to be knowing, because we, like in elementary school or in all school, we teach to only be good, to only be successful, to only be these things, instead of teaching like you're going to have these struggles. You're going, like, there is nobody who doesn't struggle.
Right.
And some of the greatest people are the ones who struggle the most.